There is a part sitting in a workshop in Maranello right now that Mercedes cannot answer. It has not raced. It has not turned a wheel in anger. And when it arrives, Ferrari believes it does the one thing that changes everything about this championship. It erases the gap. Not closes it, erases it. Mercedes leads by 25 points. And the people inside that team already know what is coming for them after the summer break. Here is what it is. Ferrari is bringing a redesigned turbocharger. This is the big one, the piece the whole second half of the season turns on. Same core size, but reworked from the inside out. New blade design, new materials, a change that goes straight to the heart of how the power unit breathes and how it delivers its energy on a straight. And the target Maranello has set for it is not modest. They are not chasing a tenth here or there. They believe this brings them to genuine power parity with Mercedes. Level. Equal on the one thing Mercedes has been able to hold over them all year. Understand why that single word, parity, is the one that should keep Brackley up at night. All season the story of this Ferrari has been the same. Quick in the corners, short on the straights. The chassis is there. The downforce is there. The thing missing has always been the engine, the grunt down the long straights where Mercedes simply drives away. That is a fixable weakness, and this turbo is built to fix exactly it. The moment Ferrari matches Mercedes on power, the last thing holding this car back is gone. You are not left with a Ferrari that is fast on its good weekends. You are left with a Ferrari that is fast everywhere, on every kind of circuit, every single weekend. That is the difference between a team that can occasionally beat you and a team that can beat you anywhere, and it is the version of Ferrari that is about to walk out of the summer break. Now understand why Ferrari is even allowed to do this mid-season, because this is the detail that makes it so dangerous, and it is one Mercedes cannot do anything about. Under the 2056 engine rules, a manufacturer that falls far enough behind on power earns the right to catch back up. It is written into the regulations. The governing body measured Ferrari's engine as more than 4% off the benchmark, and that shortfall unlocked catch-up room that most of the grid does not have. Ferrari was handed 2 separate steps to close the gap. 2. And here is the part that matters most. They have only used one so far, and it was the small one. The big step, the turbo, is still loaded, still waiting. The rules have handed Ferrari a license to catch Mercedes that no rival can take away, and Ferrari has barely started spending it. And it gets worse for Mercedes, because of who the benchmark turned out to be. The engine everyone was measured against was ruled to be Red Bull's, a call Red Bull itself disputes, and much of the paddock quietly laughs at, because the widespread belief up and down the grid is that Mercedes is the real class of the field on power. Follow that through. Ferrari qualified for catch-up room measured against Red Bull and is about to aim the result of it straight at Mercedes. Meanwhile, Mercedes, sitting at the top of the engine order, was given only a single token of its own and chose not to even use it. One team is still developing its engine and loading its biggest step for after the break. The other has decided it does not need to move. When one side is climbing and the other has stopped, the gap only ever closes one way. And the turbo is not even arriving alone. Reports out of Italy say Ferrari is preparing a major new high downforce Aero package to land in the very same window, around the Dutch Grand Prix, with the Aero department pushing flat out to have it ready for the return. That part is reported, not yet confirmed by Ferrari itself, and this channel will not pretend it is locked in. But it fits everything the paddock already knows, that the next big evolution of this car is deliberately being saved for after the shutdown. Think about what that combination does. An Aero package lifts you through the corners, an engine step lifts you on the straights. Bring one without the other and a rival can still find a place to beat you. Bring both together on a car already fighting at the front, and you have shut every door at once. There is nowhere left for Mercedes to be quicker. That is what makes the timing so brutal. Ferrari is not drip-feeding these upgrades one at a time, where Mercedes can absorb them and respond. It is stacking them into a single hit at the return from the break, with half a season still left to cash it in. And look at where that hit lands on the calendar. The run after the break opens at Zandvoort, and then goes to Monza. Monza, a cathedral of top speed, the one circuit on the entire calendar where an engine deficit is exposed more mercilessly than anywhere else, and it happens to be Ferrari's home race. Picture that package arriving there, in front of the Tifosi, with the power gap gone. The very tracks that have been punishing Ferrari all year, the flat-out ones, flip and become the tracks where a fixed Ferrari punishes everyone else. That is precisely why voices inside the sport have started saying out loud that these engine upgrades, not the Aero, could be the single thing that decides where this title ends up. And there is a cold strategic logic to introducing it exactly here, beyond the theatre of the venue. An engine step you bring in after the break works for the entire back half of the championship. Every race, from Zandvoort to the final round, runs on the fixed engine. Ferrari is not buying one strong Sunday. It is buying a step change that applies to every remaining weekend at once. At the exact moment there is still enough season left to overturn a points gap. Bring it too early, and you tip your hand in hand, Mercedes. Time to react. Bring it now, and the schedule itself does half the work for you. Which is why the two races before the break barely matter to the bigger picture. Belgium this weekend, then Hungary, both bring only small, circuit-specific tweaks, the fine-tuning every team does. The real weapon is being held back on purpose. So, the next two Sundays are almost a holding pattern, both teams trading blows with the cars they already have, while the thing that could genuinely swing the championship sits in a Maranello workshop, waiting for its moment. And the smart thing to watch across those two weekends is not who wins, it is the margin. Because if Ferrari is running this close to Mercedes on the current car, at circuits that are supposed to suit the silver cars, then every 10th Ferrari is close on now is a 10th. It could be ahead by once the new engine lands. Belgium and Hungary are the last look at the old order before the upgrades rewrite it. If you want one figure that tells you how seriously to take all of this, it is this. The parts Ferrari has already bolted on this year, before the engine has even been properly fixed, have dragged a 65-point Mercedes lead down to 25. That is the whole case in a single number. The Aero alone, with the engine still compromised, closed 2/3 of a runaway lead. Now Ferrari is about to add the engine step it has been saving, and an Aero package on top. If Phase 1 did that to a 65-point gap, the only question that matters over the break is what Phase 2 does to a 25-point one. And this is not a fanbase inventing a rivalry to feel better about itself. The people running Mercedes have said the quiet part out loud, on the record. After one of Ferrari's recent wins, Toto Wolff stood in front of the cameras and admitted there is now a third party fully involved in the fight for both titles, and that Mercedes has to work out internally how it handles its own two drivers before they start taking points off each other. Sit with that. The team leading both championships is already wargaming how to stop its own drivers racing too hard, because it can no longer assume it has the margin to let them go freely. That is not the posture of a team that feels safe. That is a team looking over its shoulder at what is coming. And the standings tell you why. Look at the top of the championship right now. Kimi Antonelli leads on 179 points. George Russell is second on 154. Then Lewis Hamilton, third on 147. Then Charles Leclerc, fourth on 108. Two Mercedes, two Ferraris, locked at the front with nobody else in the conversation. If you are following this title fight as closely as we are, take a second to subscribe, because every race after the break could swing it, and each one is worth covering properly. Max Verstappen, the man who owned this sport for years, is down in 7th, watching. This is a straight two-team war, and Mercedes has both its drivers in it, separated by 25 points, right as its rival is about to get faster. And the warnings are not just coming from inside Mercedes now. At Silverstone, Wolff went further still. He admitted Mercedes had expected Ferrari to run short of energy around a track that should have punished them, and Ferrari did not. He called them a strong competitor and said, "This is simply what the rest of the season looks like now. The new baseline for every remaining weekend," and he said it before Ferrari's biggest upgrade has even landed. George Russell, in the same paddock, put it plainly. There is a close fight with Ferrari now, and it is not just him and Antonelli, because Hamilton is right there too, and the sharpest warning of all did not come from Ferrari at all. It came from Lando Norris, watching from McLaren, who said that if Ferrari make real improvements on the engine side, they will embarrass everyone, including the team leading the championship. And the improvement he is describing is the exact one Ferrari has queued up for the other side of the break. Here is the part that makes the Mercedes position even more fragile than the points suggest. Their biggest enemy this season has not really been Ferrari. It has been their own car letting them down at the worst moments. Reliability, the thing that was supposed to be Mercedes' great strength, has already quietly cost them a serious chunk of this championship, and now line that up against what is coming. A team that is already leaking points to its own failures, about to face a rival getting a new engine and a new aero package at the same time. Those two problems do not cancel each other out, they stack. Every Mercedes retirement from here is not just a zero. It is a Ferrari climbing the road behind it, banking points it would never have had if the silver car had simply finished. Now make that Ferrari faster. You start to see why the mood in the paddock has turned. And the pressure is already showing in ways that have nothing to do with lap time. It has spilled into an open argument between the two team principals about how Ferrari can even afford all of this. Wolff has needled that Ferrari must be running low on cost cap money soon, throwing this many parts at the car. Vasseur fired straight back, saying that when Red Bull or Mercedes develop their cars, they are called geniuses, but when Ferrari develops, they get accused of cheating, and that everyone needs to calm down. Two team bosses trading shots through the media, planning to clear the air over the break. That is not the body language of a team relaxed about the second half. And underneath the sniping sits a real question that shapes the run-in. Can Ferrari keep this up? If it can, the turbo and the Aero package land, and the development keeps coming. Ferrari has clearly decided the title is worth emptying the budget for. It is worth remembering just how far Ferrari has been willing to push to find speed, because it tells you how they will approach these upgrades too. On the rear wing sits a device, the paddock, nicknamed the Macarena, for the way it dances open and shut. A rotating rear wing that flips almost all the way over to shed drag on the straights, then snaps back for the corners, and it has to make that move in a fraction of a second, every lap at 300 kilometers an hour, without ever getting it wrong. Ferrari and Red Bull are the only two teams brave enough to race anything like it. Ferrari's version has run all year without a single failure. That is the mindset bringing you the turbo. Not a team protecting a decent result, but a team convinced the title is still there for the taking and willing to chase every legal margin to grab it. And how strange the order at the front has become tells the same story. Verstappen, the driver who defined the last era of this sport, is not just 7th in the points. His Red Bull contract is reported to carry a performance clause, a way out for 2027 if he sits outside the top 2 at the summer break, and sitting 7th, that condition is now effectively a certainty. A year ago, this was his championship to lose. Now the whole story of the season is which of two other teams takes it, and one of those two is about to get quicker. That is how completely the ground has shifted, and the upgrades coming after the break are set to shift it further. One honest word before the end. Because this channel does not sell fairy tales. Mercedes is still leading, and across the season as a whole, it is not close. The constructors' gap is 78 points in Mercedes' favour, and over a full weekend they still have, on balance, a strong, all-round package. Ferrari has not won anything yet. What Ferrari has done is turn a procession into a fight, and line up the upgrades that could tilt it the rest of the way. The big Aero package is reported, not confirmed. But the direction of travel is not in doubt, and every sign points to that gap shrinking, not growing, which leaves the whole season balanced on one part that has not raced. The turbo Ferrari believes brings engine parity is still weeks away. The Aero package meant to arrive with it is still being finished. And that is the position no championship leader ever wants to be in. Mercedes is not defending against the car it can see. It is defending against the car it cannot see yet, the faster version still being built in Maranello, aimed squarely at the weaknesses Mercedes has left exposed. You cannot answer a threat you have never driven against. You can only wait for it and hope your margin holds. Mercedes leads by 25. The next time these cars line up, after the break, we find out whether that lead survives contact with the version of Ferrari that has not shown up yet. And on current form, with a new engine and a new Aero package pointed straight at where it hurts, the smart money is not on that gap getting any bigger. The summer break is the calm. What comes after it is the fight this entire season has been building toward, and Ferrari is walking into it holding the one card nobody else was ever dealt: